Hello and welcome to Amass Games. Today I'm bringing you the how to set up, play and review the game Egizia Shifting Sands by Stronghold Games. This is the retail edition of the game. I'll be teaching you through the various things that are inside this. I'm also going to quickly mention this game has its insert, and as you can see it's nicely, sturdily placed away. So after the unboxing, the preview, the teaser, I have some idea of actually how to pack this away. These are some cards. These are Sphinx cards I put in one bag. And if you're playing 3 to 4 players, I just tend to put them in a separate bag. Got various cards for the various rounds, which are also labelled in separate bags. But I'm just going to show you for that first round setup. Aside from that, you're going to have a player for each colour. So for each colour, we're going to leave out yellow and blue because I'm just going to show you the side of the board for 2 players. And finally, we're going to have these, which are relevant for some colonnades. Lastly, we have other bits to do with the Nile actions. You're going to need a player board per person. The second player is going to start on 3 stone, the first player on 2. And let me talk to you about what that even means. So this is a game whereby we are going out onto the Nile. We're going to be involved in the mechanics of risk and reward and deciding on whether we want to be building certain kinds of monuments based on the various criteria we might want to focus on. So in terms of the side of the board that you're after, let me just show you. This is on the 3 to 4 side of the board, but we're going to flip this over and play sides, the retail side, that's the Kickstarter side. This side, which is going to be relevant for 2 players. Now, it's not quite in shot, but as you'll see, you'll start with a marker up here. So you'll put this brick down here. We're going to deal with some pyramid building potentially over here. We're now going to place out the irrigation marker. So we're looking to please the pharaoh by being the best people, the best merchants who can build this very, very beautiful land. So as you can tell, this is a landscape view of this video, and I always do portrait, but landscape is essential for YouTube. So we're going to be placing out some tiles here. What this represents is basically various things that we're coming across on this Nile journey. And we're going to be placing out boats. We're going to need some crew to build these 5 different monuments. So I've talked about that Sphinx briefly. I'll come back to that. We've got the pyramid here. We've got these statues. We're going to have some colonnades. And we have that obelisk at the top. So there are various points you can gain, but you're going to need strength. You're going to need crew to deliver you up into these various locations, and you're going to need to have to feed your crew. So you're going to shuffle these cards, and what you're going to be doing is over the first 2 rounds using these cards. You're going to discard them once they're used, and you're not going to go through all of them. So just to let you know, this is a variable setup for each game. And let me just get everything else out and play. The game has been inspired by Stone Age, the designer who did Stone Age, because you do need to feed your people, and if you don't, you get negative points. You can go below 0, it's worth pointing out, and you can actually get -5 points on that first round if you don't correctly manage your people. So again, because this is a landscape filming, I'm actually going to have the player, the board here, just to the side, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that. All the key actions are going to be listed there. So as you can see, these have been randomly assigned, and as you can quickly note, there are some English text, but ultimately, if you choose to take a card, such as mining, as I'll get onto, it's quite clear from the symbology up the top what you could be doing with it, and actually you can overlay that with numerous cards. It's quite easy to tell actually how much mining resource and power you're able to generate. So everything else for each bag is in here, so I tend to do it based on what's needed. You need to tip everything out, so let me just chuck everything out there. You'll always start with a certain setup for the 2-player game. 3 or 4, you're going to have a variable one, you can randomly chuck it out. For the golden colonnade, in the 2-player game, what you're going to need is you're going to find the other purple piece and place it over here. So that always goes here, and you can see very nice art, very nice 3D effect. And I'll come on to that if you ever reach that space. The right-hand one is always randomized, so you always use G6 there. Right one always randomized. Remember, in the 3 to 4 player game, that's always the same. You're going to start off with a starter amount of mining. It's about quarries and stone. You're going to use it as a resource to basically be able to build here, here, etc. And you're going to have a starting amount of wheat. So this means you can feed people up to strength of 6, which I'll get on to. Upgrading is not possible in the 2-player game for wheat. You're going to need to play the 3 or 4 player variant, which will have a different thing here. And for stone, that's only a Kickstarter upgrade. So you can start those out of the way. You're going to have 8 of these little ships. Now, this game originally came out about 10 years ago, the game called Egizia, as opposed to Egizia Shifting Sands. And that game may well have inspired Rajas of the Ganges. Now, I hadn't played the original Egizia. I hadn't actually come across it. The Rajas of the Ganges is a very highly rated game, similar to Shifting Sands. And in it, you're going to be going along the Ganges, as a bit like the Nile. And it means as soon as you go down one location, you can't go there again. So these are the bricks. You're going to place them out on your board. Again, like I said, in a 2-player game, somebody's going to start off on 2 if you're going first, and on 3 if you're going second. And you can continue going based on how many people are playing. You're going to have a crew, so you need to take one of each for each individual player, and you're going to place them all on the 1 track, because that's how strong these crew are. You've got cloth, you've got like wheat, and you've got like papyrus or palms or dates. And level 2 purple crew, they start on level 2. Basically, they're a crew that cannot go on their own, but they can lead and help others. Now, I'm going to put something away, but these are these randomized things that decide where you could be going. Again, in 2-player, it's slightly different to 3 or 4. Similarly, there are some extra places that you could also be going to. So these are all going to go away, but each round you're going to be randomizing where the various abilities you can pick up are. Very similar each time. What's worth noting is ultimately for round 1 you don't, but from then on you do need to. Put away some of this stuff to make some space. So you can randomly decide who starts. So you're going to have one of these for each player. So again, for a 2-player game, someone's going to go second, someone's going to go first. At the end of the round, whoever's in last position in points is going to take their first position, and the other person is going to take second. So like I said, you've got 8 boats, and you can choose, if you're starting, to go here. What this means is straight away you're going to take that tile, and you're going to be building some more stone, which I'll get onto. I'll just leave it there for the time being. But as an example, I might want this, but I really might want something else. Well, you wouldn't go for 2, you might rather have the 3. You'd go here. What this means is you can move this irrigation channel. So if you want to move this down to green, or maybe you want to move it up to red, it allows you to produce based on the various types of irrigation. Maybe a bit more drought and it can still be hardy and survive. You could go over here. What this means is based on your strength. So what I'm going to move is this back across again. You might have a strength of 2. So if you happen to go here, you can spend your strength. So you could spend 1 strength and flip one of these over and say, right, one of these crew represents each of the different locations. And you can say, right, I'm going to spend 1 strength. So if I'm brown or red, I'm going to go here. I'll be scoring 1 victory point for placing it on brick. The more you place out in a turn, the more you're going to get. And as soon as somebody reaches here, you can start using your special ability. You can flip it over, and once per round, increase your strength. You can do all of them apart from purple, so you could do that one. As soon as you reach here, you can actually go here. So if somebody happened to go here, only one person can. Then imagine a different colour in there. This person can wait outside in the river and basically be prospecting. And that means that if this person can't go, they can go in. Equally, this person just lets them go in as well. So there are a finite amount of places you can go. There are even more finite amount of ships. So there are some places which won't be gone to. But in a 3 to 4 player game, obviously there's a lot more competitive and more likely things are going to go. Lastly, in a 2-player game, bricks can run out. In your first game, you won't be too efficient with some of your moves, but it is something that can occur. So I'll leave this thing covered as I'll come back to it. I'll use 1 for the left and 1 for the right, so just be keeping an eye on that as well. So let's be moving on to, let's just say, the Sphinx cards down the bottom. Everybody's going to start the game with 2 cards. Now, normally pick these before these cards go out. Typically, I don't think it matters. So everyone's going to be given 2. So let's have a quick look at them. Either get 3 plus bricks, the obelisk, colonnade, and the pyramid, and you'll score 6 points at the end of the game. This is hidden information. Or I could try and get 4 victory points for having at least 4 in the colonnade and a completely building statue. So you might want to pick one of them. One's going to get discarded. And then the other one's just going to go to the bottom of that deck. So it's going to give you something to work towards, which is really handy. You can get more throughout the game, as I'll get onto it. We have the statues. So over here, we have something like this. You can have an A and a B card. And in this instance, what you're going to be doing is it's going to help you to work towards something. So similar to those Sphinx cards, this one is you're trying to progress in these grain and stone markets. And if you happen to get a brick on here, at the end of the game, if you've got 6 progression out of 10, you're going to score 2 victory points. You're going to get 8 and 10, 5 and 10 points respectively. Now it's going to cost you 1 stone and 1 crew, which again is going to be using up one of your things to go there. Equally, you can combine any of your strength for either these two and either of these two. So you might want to work on building up those and trying to go for those locations. So in terms of this pyramid, again, the two players slightly different. You have this darker shade. If you can start working yourself along here, again, each point you put down, each brick you put down is going to get your points. These are the one exceptions. You do not score anything for those ones. Again, a shuffle in an A, shuffle in a B. Down here, and I'll leave that blank. But if you happen to complete this bottom one, whoever completes gets the victory points, which represent the amount of bricks you have in that thing. So that would give me 6 victory points. Now, as soon as I built 2 of them, I could build upwards. And I might choose to do those 2 and then do that. It's up to you. But whoever completes the column, even if there's only 1 brick, they're just going to score 1 point for that level. Finally, you obviously complete here, but it's going to cost you more stone, which is from your board, and also obviously spending 4 crew. So that is the pyramid. And of course, whatever you're choosing to complete might depend on your objectives. So that's by going in here. Going down the bottom is again allowing you to get some more cards. You're going to pick up to 5 cards, spending up to 5 stone. It's a bit like push your luck. You might spend 4 stone, 4 crew. Look at them and actually pick one of these. You can only pick one, but then you're discarding those others. And when you discard them, you're going to score a point for each one. So in this instance, I picked 4. I could discard and get 3 points, plus the card for the end of the game. So we talked about mining. We've talked about getting some wheat. You could also actually move up these tracks. So what we're going to do is take a brick, put them on the start layer for grain and quarries. Now, throughout the game, you're actually going to get to the feeding rounds and stuff like that. And what you can do, if you max out on these tracks and you start getting more grain and you're producing more, you can start selling it back for 2 victory points each time you're trying to advance in the grain market. If you have surplus amount of grain, so imagine you've got a crew worth 10 and you've got 13 grain, then you can sell 3 for 1 the amount of grain and get victory points as well. Also here, as soon as you reach this moment, you get 2 additional things as well. So you get 2 more stone, and if you reach the top, you get 3 more stone. At the end of the game, at the top, what you can do is actually sell the amount you have divided by 2 rounded down. So if you have 25 and you haven't spent it, you're going to get an extra 12 points. So different cards are going to come out, so you can permanently change these fields to be from yellow to green. You can choose to move irrigation to stop people from being able to feed everybody and thus getting negative points. And you can choose to do various other things. Some of these cards might be around trying to get certain permanent bonuses. So aside from that, obviously it's a many paths of victory approach to a game. It's really good. I give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's beautiful to look up, and it's got, like I said, a lovely variable setup and lots of planning. You can very quickly say, okay, I want that and I want all of them, but you've got to see where everyone else goes, see what's available to you. It's strong to go for this early on, trying to get these, because of course each round you can do it. So let me just talk about how that works. First, you're going to lay this out. You're then going to go through and you're going to do the placement, which is placing out your various things. Then mining is going to generate to you. So 5 would give me additional 5 brick. So that moves up first. You'll then get any bonuses associated with that. Similar with feeding, I've got 15 crew. Do I have 15 wheat, respecting obviously if it can be irrigated? You'll then go to the building phase. So now you're going to go in here. I might have 7 brick and go, I've already done this one, so I could get 3, 4, 5. Can't do this one. So I'm going to score 1, 2, 3 more points, and I'm further along here. And then maybe I'm going to need to make sure I've spent enough crew. I could go up here as well at the same turn. So instead of going here, I go here, and I actually go up the obelisk. Additionally, I can go up either the grain or the stone market. When you cross this point, once it's built enough, then you can start getting 1 up in each of them as well. And of course, towards the end of the game, they're just pure up victory points. So you're going to spin around this track. There is, like I said, a 50 and a 100 marker point as well, which obviously is definitely achievable. Especially in a 2-player game, you may get more than 100 points. So aside from that, like I said, it's swift as well. It takes about just over an hour, and it's about 70 minutes, including setup. So I think you can easily get this done an hour after a few games. And yeah, like I said, it's really nice to look at. I love this kind of stone marker effect track as well. And they've done a great job, obviously, doing it. Very swift, 5 rounds. It goes by in no time. You can play it in the morning, evening, however you like. The board isn't massive, which means you can easily get numerous playables around it. Just you must keep an eye out on obviously where you're going, and there's that 150 and 100 marker too. There are enough bags, so in terms of all the bags I did mention came in it, yep, you're going to be absolutely fine. And you're going to notice that various cards, unlike these permanent cards, you might take, you know, a bit of a dip early on and obviously catch up later depending on what you go for. But do remember, only one person can go here in a 2-player game. In a 4-player game, 3 can go there. So it can vary, or it's basically one fewer the amount of people going. At the end of the game, you're going to check your scores. So that's going to score immediately when someone reaches there. Anyone else is going to get 3. You're going to tot up anybody who's reached any of their victory point conditions here. You're then going to score 5, whoever's got the most here as well. Any other points that you might have, and then you're going to, of course, sell back your stone. So that is it. That is Egizia. Interesting name to a game. Obviously, it's quite a universal name. I'm sure it does mean something in ancient Egyptian or something like that. But yeah, unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to play this as much at a higher player count. But the rounds are swift. Like I said, you're just seeing where you go, you're taking it as soon as you go there. Some nice variable setup on these guys as well. And yes, highly enjoyable fun. So that has been Egizia. That has been Shifting Sands. If you enjoy the video, please hit the like button. These are also going to refresh you at the end of the round. And also, if you happen to get more than one thing in these locations, and you happen to do the thing, you're going to get 2 bonus points, or all 3 is going to give you 5 bonus points. Remember to flip back your markers at the end of the round once you use them, plus these if you've used them too. And lastly, you're going to decide, obviously, who's going to start that next round by passing your markers across. So if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button to check all the videos. This year in particular, I've been producing a video pretty much on average every day. I've also been doing lots of other things. And again, hit the subscribe button, check out the comments, lots of information in the description, and look forward to bringing more videos very soon. All the best. Bye for now.